Hello everybody, welcome to Greg's Vintage Workshop, where I'm restoring history one piece at a time. Tonight we're going to be looking at part 3 of the Emerson CF255 TRF tube radio, the 2-tube radio that has the resistive line cord on, doesn't have it any longer. Tonight we're going to be testing the tubes, and I finished up the electrical portion of the restoration. So after we test the tubes, I need to get the dial cord strung back up, and I work on that some. And then ultimately we are going to hook this up to my Night Variac dim bulb tester and put some power to it, and we'll see if it actually smokes or does something. So without further ado, let's take a look at that, and we'll see what happens. Okay everybody, I got my 32L7 GT tube in my Precision 912 tube tester. I've had it on for a couple of minutes, warming up. As you can see here, I'm trying to get it out of the glare, but my tube tester did not roll chart, did not have a 32L7. It jumped from 28D7 down to 35B1. But Bob, being the hero he is, found me new numbers, roll chart if you will, printout that I printed out over here, 132 pages worth, of which I put together the settings for the 32L6 or L7. So we're getting ready to test it. I'm on the amp section right now, and I've got all the settings all set for that, so we'll run through for shorts and filament. That's the filament, it's good. And those shorts, and then we test it with B and C depressed. So I hit my test here. You can see the filament lid in there, I think. You sort of can, maybe. Yeah, maybe not. I can see it, the camera can't see it. Alright. Alright, it's testing pretty darn good. Well, that's good. Alright, so now let's go over here. We're going to check the rectifier section. So let's see, we're at 4, 10. This one's going to become 0. This one's going to become 1. This one's going to become 11. And this one's 1, so that's going to stay the same. This time we're going to be testing E. Let's go ahead and check ours for shorts. Let's go ahead and get B and C up first. Okay. Okay, so it's good. And we're going to test it with E depressed. It's funny, I can look right straight through there and see. There you go. There you can see the filament lit. As I say, I can look right down in there and see it, and the camera doesn't. But I decided I didn't have it at the right angle. All right, let's see what this other side, the rectifier section, tests like. Oh, that's good. Well, I'll have a couple of spares then. As I was telling Bob before I knew that he was going to get me this, when I couldn't find it on either my Night Dynascan or my Precision 912. I couldn't test it, so I went on eBay and I bought a couple of NOS tubes. They weren't bad. It was $10 for the 2 tubes and $4 and something for shipping, so $15. I'll have a couple spare tubes, but it's good to know that this one's functional. So let me get the 12B8. Alright, so I've got the 12B8 in there, and this one you can see the filament glow. If I get the angle just right, you can see it. There we go. Got my hand over the light that's above us. I've got my settings set. Let me turn the line down a little bit. Looks pretty good. Alright, we know the filament's good because it's lit. I'm not even going to bother with that, but we can run through the shorts. And we want, this one is on my chart, you can see right there, 12B8, and we want D depressed. Okay, get my finger out of the camera, read the meter. It's good. It's not testing fantastic, but at least it's good, so we should be okay. Alright, that's that section. Now let's go back down here. Triode section, pentode section. We're going to go 7. 8's the same. C is going to be 7. And then we're going to be 40 instead of 33. Trying to keep the light where you guys can see it, but unfortunately it's glaring here. So then we go 3 and 1. So that's going to be 3. That one's going to be 1. So we should be in good shape there. In this case, we're going to be pressing B and C. But we'll run through the shorts first. And B and C. Double check everything. 7, 8, 7, 8, 7, 33, 3 and 1. Yep. Oh, wait a second. See, it's a good thing I double checked myself. It's not 33. Or 40. It's 33. I was looking at the one below it. See right here? I saw the 40. So I'm going to recheck that again then. So we're 7, 7, 8, 7, 7, 8, 7, 33, 3, 1, B and C. Okay. Should be right now. Ooh, very on the weak side. It's on the weak side. Not bad, but it's not great. I might have to see about getting me another one, but that hopefully will be enough to get it running. Okay, let's get this thing out and put it in the set. So there is the antenna coil all completed. Everything's all soldered up, and I painted it first with the black acrylic like I said, and right now it's got the liquid tape on it. So all ready to go. I'll get this installed. Alright, so we've got the electrical portion of this restoration on this Emerson CF255 pretty much done. I've checked and rechecked everything. I've put a new cord on it. I went with this old style cord, and then I found a modern end. It don't look great, but it's on there super tight. I fed it through there. I put enough heat shrink on this that it can't pull through, and it is polarized, so that way we don't have to worry about getting plugged in wrong. So that's that. So where I'm at currently, I'll show you what we got. There's the antenna coil, all painted and then covered with the liquid tape. It's covered with that. And everything's together. Got the new antenna wire hanging out here. We'll fasten that later. And there's the detector coil all in place. And of course, all the work that we did inside there, that's all done. So from an electrical standpoint, it should be done. Now, what I still have to do is keep my cord from falling on the floor there. I need to string the dial cord. And remember the front part that I said had gotten stripped in my cleaner? Well, I painted it. So that's all painted and ready to go. So that's good. Now, in order to string the dial cord, this almost obviously has to be in place because that's what it's going to wrap around. But I'm going to see if I can do it a little bit differently. And then I also have to repair the speaker. Now, that being said, I think I'm going to have to take that off in order to take the cover off in order to see what I'm doing with the dial string. So maybe I can just cut some of this off because it looks like the speaker actually goes straight through right there. So maybe I'll just cut some of this off. Let's see what we can do. Okay, I was originally going to replace this dial string, but the more I looked at it, it really doesn't look that bad. I don't think that it doesn't look frayed, so I think that I should be okay to reuse it. I think I'm going to give it a shot anyway, and we'll see what we get. I'm hoping I can keep you guys in frame. I got it zoomed up so you can kind of see what I'm doing here, but makes it a little more difficult for me to see what I'm doing. Now, originally they had that just kind of looped over the top there, but I'm not sure that I like that. I almost think it needs to be from the bottom or it's going to come out easier. We need to see if we can get that to catch like that. Alright. And then, let's see, this one went that way, and this one goes around this other way. If I can get my fingers out of the way, it'll be alright. So you got to go around there, like that. Now the question is I'm wondering if that's going to interfere with that spring, going to interfere with that cord. I don't know. It might. All we can do is give it a shot and see what happens. So this actually goes like this, which has to go in here, something like this. Probably should have put that on first. Yeah, that didn't work too good, did it? Alright, let's see. So that's got to go there, like that. And then that's got to come around like that. Alright, but then we got to go like this. Yeah, it's coming off when I go to put that on there, it's sliding off down here. That's it. Right there, if I can get a screw in it. I'd rather it be a straight head screw. Down here it's not as big of a deal. Up at the other end it is because it's such a tight fit. I think I got that one started. Yeah, that don't fit. I think I got you guys off camera here. Apologize for that. You can see why I said a straight head screw would be better here. I'm trying to keep it somewhat original, although it's not really original, so it probably doesn't really matter. It's very far from original, actually. Let me see. I probably don't have anything quite this small anyway. This looks like about a 440. Got that one started. Alright, let me see if I can get this other screw. I want to see if I can find a couple of screws. I'll be back. Well, as I was getting that dial cord on and getting the string stretched, it broke. Which I guess I should have known better. Even though it looked good, I'm sure it was somewhat rotten. I mean, it's 1939, so what's that make it? 40, 60, 70 years old? Something like that. So I'm going to have to go ahead and pull this back off. What I wound up doing was I used 3 of the 4 original screws, and I used a screw here only because it was easier to install. That may not be the right way to do it, but it's not going to be seen anyway. I got to pull this back off and get to where I get my string, get it back off there and measure it out and get some dial cord on here. So I will do that and I will bring it back. I think the hardest part was getting the knot in the spring. So I'm going to try and see what we can do to get this in. Obviously the cord I had to take that off. We'll have to reposition that. But let's see if we can get this thing on here. Alright, like that. I'll tell you right now that looks way too short. But we also have a lot hanging on there right now, so like that. is off camera. I think my string needs to be just a slight amount shorter. Let me redo this. Alright, so I got the line cord in, and I know I didn't show it to you as I was doing it. It really was not that big of a deal. That's why I was fighting with it a little bit. I didn't want to just keep it on camera for you. I had that wrapped backwards, so I had to take it off down here and then put it back. Wasn't that big of a deal, really. The problem I was actually having was a little bit of slippage because this bushing that I was showing you earlier that was worn out, I managed to smash that down a little bit, this piece right here, and it took some of that out. And then I went ahead and got my pointer in the right location per the alignment instructions, which was right below this dot. And then I'll open it up till it's just below this dot and put in 1600 kilocycles through the antenna when we get it working to adjust the antenna coil. Well, it's not adjusting the coil, but you know what I'm saying. It's setting it up for that. So anyway, we're about ready to put some power to this thing and see what it is going to do. Now, I haven't fixed my speaker yet, but I think I want to see what's going to happen with this before I do that. So let me get my other camera set up so that you can watch the Variac dim bulb and amps while I do that. Let me get this set up for you. Alright, so I've got my camera set up so that you can see the radio right here, and I've got my digital meter here that will be showing the DC volts on C13 electrolytic. And the upper view you're going to see is my night Variac AC amp meter, voltmeter, etc. Then bulb tester. And I've got it plugged in right now. I don't have it turned on yet. I have the switch on the radio on, but I haven't applied any voltage to it yet. So let's go ahead and hope for no smoke. And let's get this meter running. So let's put it on DC. And we will turn on, well, I guess I got to turn on my switch first. Okay, now we got some lights. We'll turn on my switch here. Okay, so you can see I've got it on. The dim bulb is turned on. It's not on bypass. And I haven't turned any current on yet. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm trying to keep my arm out of your way. Well, I guess I'm not going to keep my arm out of your way very easily. So let's go ahead and turn on some voltage here. There's about 25. About 25 volts AC. Not much going on there. Let's take it on up to 50. Around 50. My bulb is not in your view. Let me move this up a little bit because the bulb is actually coming on a little bit. There we go. You might see that. Okay. Let's go ahead and turn it up a little bit further. Looks like it's pulling maybe 50 milliamps, possibly. Let's turn it up to 75. Alright, so we look like we're pulling about 100 milliamps now. The bulb is a little bit brighter. Looks like our DC volts are starting to pick up now. Dim bulb's looking fine. Let's give it a little bit more voltage. Let's take it up to about 80. DC volts about 73. Still pulling about 150 milliamps. DC volts have settled down to about 72. Let's go ahead and take it on up to about 100. Alright, so we're about 200 milliamps. Got a little bit of light in the dim bulb, just a little bit. About 81. Hearing a little static out of the radio. That's exciting. I don't know if you guys are picking that up or not. Now all I have for an antenna right now is just a little short wire antenna here. Dim bulb's looking good. We're only pulling about 200 milliamps right now. I'm going to go ahead and take the dim bulb off. I obviously don't have any shorts in here. Let's see if we take this out. Let's go through bypass here. Turn our volts back a little bit here. So it should be about 112 volts AC right now. Looks like we're pulling about 300, 280, 300 milliamps maybe. Obviously I haven't attempted to adjust anything on this, but at least we have sound. looks like we're pulling about 300 milliamps right now. DC volts are about 92. Should be sitting at about 115 volts. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with that. We've got, appears to be functioning. Now I just gotta get an antenna hooked up to it and inject a 1600 signal into it. I am, because that 12B8 GT tube is so weak on that pintode side, I have ordered a new one for it. Alright, well, we're going to leave it there for right the moment. I think it was a successful first power up we've got going on here. Let me see, the bulb's lit up pretty good. Let me disconnect this. I still have to clean the speaker up, and let's see if I can get a signal into it and get it adjusted. Remember, I had the micas out and everything else, so I'm sure everything's way out of whack on it. So let me see what I can do with it. There was one thing that I wanted to show you guys that I hadn't thought to show you. I'm inserting this here because this is after the initial power up, and although I show you the initial power up, I didn't during the power up go in and check the filament voltage. But if you remember this, having the resistance line cord, I had to eliminate that resistance line cord, and I think I showed you early on this was the schematic that I put together after having talked to Bob Gibbons, and he had sicked me on a calculator that helped calculate this, and of course he helped me with that as well. So we decided to use the 8UF capacitor and the 22 ohm resistor, and so that's what I put this together to draw it all up the way it made sense to me. And then after I did that, I had to figure out how I was going to lay it out, and so I did all this on paint, and this is how I determined how I was going to lay it all out physically on the chassis. So right now I've got my voltage at 117 volts AC, and I've hooked my meter up between the pin terminal 7 and 2 on the 32L7, and so you can see what we're looking at right now. So as you can see on the meter right now at 117.5 volts AC, I've got 32.3 AC on the 32 for the filament, so it's right where it needs to be. And as you can see when I was showing you on the layout, there's that cap, there's that resistor, and the terminal block that I'm showing there, and the terminal block that I showed you guys before, all down and through here, and you can see the fuse that I drew in there. And so I pretty much followed my schematic and my chassis layout as best I could. Now obviously this isn't to direct spec dimensions, but it is pretty close. Now if I can get this off of here without shorting something out, let me try and do that. I'll show you what we have on the 12B8. So it's slightly high at 13.2. It's close enough that I'm not worrying about it. That particular tube needs to be replaced anyway. Not that that's going to affect that voltage. Anyway, with the 32 being as close as it is, I don't want to mess with it any. But I did want to show you that the AC filament voltage using the 8 microfarad film cap and the 22 ohm resistor did exactly what it was supposed to do. So decided to throw that in here. I think that I'm going to go ahead and end this part 3 video here, since I got the first fire up done on it. I'm going to go ahead and clean up that speaker and fix the cracks on it. And I think what we'll do when I come back with part 4 is I'll have the tube in there, the new tube in there. I should have it adjusted through the alignment and hopefully playing. And then we will move on to the restoration of the cabinet. I hope you guys enjoyed what you've seen so far with this little tiny radio. It's been a challenge, that's for sure, for me. I have to give Bob Gibbons credit for assisting me with A few issues I've encountered on this little radio, mainly the resistance line cord replacement. I appreciate all of his expertise since I'm a hacker myself, and I appreciate all of my viewers. If you like what you've seen so far, feel free to hit like and subscribe to my channel. And until the next video comes out, I thank you for watching Greg's Vintage Workshop, where I'm restoring history one piece at a time. Everybody stay safe and healthy.